is Ken Goes Live. I'm Ken, and I am live here on twitch.tv/Ken Napzok. But you might be watching this a little bit later on YouTube. Originally broadcast on January 5th, 2021 from the confines of my home studio. Thanks for tuning in. Who's checking in, looking in the live chat? We got our good friend Pete Rich, previous caller and listener and a friend of the show. He's all the things. Vermont Mike is here. Hey, gang, he says he's got a question coming in here. And Channel 19, recent supporter of my Patreon page. Thank you, David. Appreciate that as well. Oh, my gosh. Tim's here as well. Definitely not Trey's here. I stopped listening to Indian Head Massage for this. We are eventually I'm going to be doing an ASMR segment on the show and discussing my favorite ASMR artists, and Trey's going to be an expert in that one there. But I can't believe it. We have got our friend Christy Ball Drop McGee. Hey, she says, check it in. Probably supposed to be working in some office, but here she is checking in live with us. JG is here as well. If you want to be watching live, again, go to twitch.tv/Ken Napzok. Give me a follow over there, and we will be live every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. But as always, we broadcast here on YouTube. We got more people checking in. Krista McGee says, always here for it. She said it like that, too. Always here for it. Skid Marks is there. That's his Christian name. Love that. Seafers is here. Hello, Ken. New here, but been listening and loving Force Center the past 2 years. Love to hear that. Mike Fink is here as well. This is our roll call section. And yeah, I always say Wednesday is Book of Boba Fett day. And if you're a Star Wars fan and you want to get my hot takes on it, don't worry. My hot takes are over on Force Center. We have our long 2-hour episode. So long, I'm even checking out. I don't even think it's going to auto upload to YouTube. I might have to do this, our manual YouTube. We're with Acast now, and it's supposed to move things over. And I think we did such a long review on Book of Boba Fett Chapter 2 that I think YouTube is like, now we're good. So there you go. Vermont, we're talking ASMR already. Indian head massage will stop. A Turkish head massage, I will not interrupt. What is your favorite massage videos to watch? That's not the topic of the show today, but it might as well be. Coming up, we got a very special guest. He has this wonderful YouTube channel. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels to watch. And you know what? He's relaxing, so maybe it's ASMR adjacent. It's called The Lean Years. It's my pal, Scott Antonucci, and he is here today in a short amount of time. And I figure since, we had Phil Svitek on last week talking about how to actually pick goals that work for you in the new year, Scott's here, and he has become a money guy. But he didn't start out as a money guy. And money guy is a loaded phrase, loaded with money. But he's going to be talking about his journey to investing and looking forward to, as we all look forward to, a full year here to get going on investing. And he started this great YouTube channel, and I think that's brave. And we're going to highlight that channel. But that's coming up shortly here. Chris McGee says, I'm trying a new meatball recipe. This is keeping me from watching them through the oven door. I don't cook in the oven a lot. An air fryer, yeah. Stovetop, yeah. I got to admit something. I'm afraid of the oven. I just am afraid of the oven. And, I guess since we're talking about it, this might be the launch of our actual first segment, The Things. What's on my mind? What's the things on my mind? I got to tell you what's something. As someone who is mostly vegan and trying to push more towards a plant-based diet every day, I'm very happy. Over the holiday weekend, I cooked an egg breakfast, but it wasn't an egg in sight. Nary an egg in sight. Very happy, not a sponsor of the new thing, Just Egg. It's relatively new. It's an egg replacement. That sounds disgusting. I'm going to admit it. It sounds disgusting. I was a little dubious before I tried it. But I had a very successful omelet scrambled egg weekend with Just Egg, and I feel great. So, Scott's going to come on here in a bit. Scott is almost the same age as me to a minute, but he looks 13 years younger. I'm going to ask him if he's tried Just Egg, or maybe just sticks to egg. That's on my mind as well. And I know it's disgusting. Victor Brontamontes is here, but once you taste it, it's not. Kristen McGee, oven is just a tame force. I want to get back out and do some smelding and some forging and make whatever. A hook. I made a hook. Me, Joe Starr's wife, Torlin, and Grace, for Torlin's birthday, we went to this place in kind of downtown LA. We learned to forge, and man, I felt, it wasn't even like I felt like a man, because that's kind of a silly concept. I just felt like one with nature, and nature was fire, and I bent fire to my will. So, Christy McGee, I'm with you. If that's how an oven is, I think I'll try it more. We got a lot of questions coming up today. You guys sent some great questions on patreon.com/Napzok, where you can support the show and get in. And a little bit later, if you want to, you can also call the show. But what I mean by a call, like a telephone? I mean, you could, but if you have my number, but video calls, and the link is in the Discord that you get to from my Patreon page. So check it in. More comment. Brennan Marr is here as well. I love all these people checking in. You guys are the best here on twitch.tv. We also had some new Twitch followers. Cabzilla6 followed me. Thanks for that as well. Damon R1974 is here. Oh, I apologize. I didn't get to play Red Dead Redemption 2 last night on Twitch. Probably going to do that Thursday night. Apologize. I had some work to do. Part of it was editing videos you're going to see here today. In fact, that's where we're going to go to next. On the other side of this little video break, we are going to be talking to my pal, Scott Antonucci from the YouTube channel, The Lean Years. But right now, I have to do something a little different. The file was so big, I have to share it. I can't just show it. I have to share it. So once again, I got my car. They asked me to review something I hadn't seen. Here it is, my review of Cobra Kai. If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my zig-a-zig. What are we doing? What are we reviewing this time, huh? It's real sunny. You can't even see how much weight I've gained during the pandemic. Cobra Kai Season 4. Got it. Cobra Kai Season 4. Got news for you. Haven't seen it. But I have seen, I do want to point out, did I hit that person? No, they're fine. They're just limping. Let's go. Now, I have seen an episode of Cobra Kai. It was playing in the lobby of my vet one time, very loudly, I might add. And you know what? It wasn't for me. And I think we all have to be okay with the fact that not everything is for you. No. I'm filming for YouTube. Yeah, I'm a YouTuber. Yeah, we're so talented. I'm really surprised that I am not a fan of Karate Kid. I did see the movie once in theaters and never saw it again. What's really surprising is I spent 2 years of my youth around that time wanting to be a ninja. There was a weird period of time where all of us wanted to grow up to be ninjas or Daryl Strawberry. All of it problematic. But that's the thing. I just didn't see it. And this series is bringing so much joy to so many people. And I love that. I'm celebrating for you. That makes me a hero. I think that actually makes me a hero. Oh, hey, that's my favorite 7-Eleven. What I don't like is when people take their love of one thing and pit it against something else that other people love. This Y is great, and I'm going to hold it against X. It's just not fair. It's like comparing Adele to Mia Karaoke. Both are going to give you joy. Sometimes, though, I got to tell you, sometimes when people are so excited for something that you're not excited for, like, you start to feel like, am I missing something? Am I the dumb one here? It's like when everyone's all excited about going to Arby's, and you're like, that's barely a roast beef sandwich. But then deep down in your soul, you're like, maybe I love Arby's. I have a lot of people in my life that take great inspiration from Karate Kid. In fact, I used to work down the street from the apartment that Daniel, is that the guy's name? Danny Zuko? Is that, no, that's he sings about high school. But where he met Pat Morita and the guys jumped him and everything. I used to work down the street from that. And one of my friends would get in the car and we'd go to lunch, and then he'd just drive by the apartment complex, and he'd park out in front of it, and he'd look at it and be like, there it is. And it was like some spiritual awakening. It was like the Arby's of a spiritual awakening. You know what? Pause on that. Yeah, can I have a number 7 large with a bottle of water?
Number 7 large with a bottle of water, okay?
Yes, please, that's it.
Please.
All right, thank you. Wang on. And I'll be honest, I think I'd appreciate Karate Kid more if I took my friend Joe's. Oh, fuck. Ah, between my legs, man. You burning frickin' French fry right in my crotch. I must be getting old. I can't eat this meal while driving. And I gotta be honest, I think I'd appreciate Cobra Kai if I took up my friend Joe Starr's offer to go train in his karate class. He loves that. His wife Torlin is really good at karate stuff. She's got like all the belts, like some suspenders they gave her too. She's so good that government agencies hire her to assassinate foreign dignitaries. Oh, wait, she said secret. So my rating for Cobra Kai season 4, after all of you binged the episodes but I didn't, is 8.5 crane kicks out of 10. I once tried to crane kick someone like that and I broke a testicle. Not theirs. All right, there you have it. My non-review of Cobra Kai. Look, I one day I'll get behind it. I tried. Grace and I we watched it in our vet, and it just didn't hit. And what do you want from me? By the way, shout out to the Wangers and the Wangers drive-through videos. Clearly inspired me here today. All right, let's get to our special guest today, swinging on in to talk, hopefully give us some great advice. I think he feels the pressure like my financial future is in his hands. That's not the case. I just love chatting to him about this stuff. If you watch the old Internet for Old People show over on the old channel, you might have seen him competing, and he was so gracious while competing with our friend Shasta over there on the trivia portion of that show, which I intend to bring back over here as well. I want to challenge that guy Johnny M from Long Island in a TV trivia contest there. Please welcome. He is the creator of the YouTube channel The Lean Years. My friend, great actor, great guy, great soul, Scott Antonucci. Scotty A, how are you?
I'm doing amazing after watching that. That's my favorite thing that you're doing now is those car rides. They're so good. They're so good.
I'll tell you what it is, Scott. Usually Sundays I get frustrated at just working 7 days a week, and it's an easy life to live. But then I'll get in the car and go get some fast food. So why not film it? Why not film it?
I love, and my favorite part about it is you get in the car and the camera's already in the car waiting for you, which is just
our show producers are sneaky. They're sneaky. But you know who's not brilliant. Sneaky is you, my friend. We have really got to know each other over the last year or so, but we've known each other for a few years. We met at a fateful holiday party.
Christmas party,
yeah, with our friend Bonnie Somerville and a lot of the crazy schmoes cast. But over the last year, we got to talk. And one of the things that's been fun to talk to you about is financial advice, and you launching this new YouTube channel, The Lean Years. Talk to me a little bit about your journey becoming a money guy.
First of all, you shouldn't take any financial advice from me or almost anybody else. There's very few people you should take financial advice from.
Right.
But I was just thinking, watching, you were introducing me, and I was like, what did start me on this thing? And it's fear. It's mostly fear. I thought back to my two great.
Tema, fear of what? Dying broke, or just fear of the unknown?
Yeah, fear of like going, like being sick and having to go somewhere and dying alone and hungry and in poor medical condition. Fear. That's what it is. It was terror. Yeah.
Terror.
I don't know if you know this, but we are the same age. I was 40, turning 40, and I threw a birthday party for myself that no one came to.
See,
you did know that?
No, I knew we knew each other, but remember we were hovering around each other for a long time, texting. I was trying to get you on a podcast because that's the only way I meet people. And if I'd known, I would have shown up to your party.
You would have. I agree. You probably would have. You would have been the only one. It would have been just us. in any case, the fear of all of that and really never amounting to anything much in my career and just being a total failure in life, little strands of depression, all this factors into I need to do something with my money. And I was 40 and I had no savings, zero. I had no investments. I had no job. Yeah, nothing. I was living in a studio apartment, didn't have a kitchen, just no stove.
Right.
So I needed to make some changes in my life. And luckily, I had that fear-based thought right around the time that all these apps came out that made it not only cheap, but just free to invest whatever you wanted and small amounts of money. You didn't have to have $1,000 ready. You could just take $5 and throw it in there. So that was really what started it. And then once I started, I said, oh, well, I better have a plan or, some sort of system. So I made sure to read a few books here and there. Of course, I read Think and Grow Rich back in the early days of my life. But that didn't really give a lot of financial advice about investing in stocks. So it just gave me the desire to be rich.
The desire to be rich.
With really no plan.
Yeah. And well, look, I'm on the apps too. And that's kind of where we started connecting those conversations offline of, Stash App, Robinhood. I'm on Coinbase now. Yep. I invest in crypto. I don't own a Tesla. I ain't a bro, but I do have some crypto.
Right.
It does make it easier, which also means you can make mistakes, not know how to do it. There's a lot of resources. And that's why I was drawn to what you're doing, because you aren't Warren Buffett sitting in your high tower of wealth. You're a human being who 5 years ago was in the same spot I was, of like, wow, this age came quick and I wasn't prepared for it. I've been living check to check. So what I got to do something. So you've done something. So that is good.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of it. It's interesting because I just got married. I'm going to celebrate an anniversary in 2 days. 1 year anniversary.
I remember attending that on Zoom.
You did. Elvis. Everybody was on Zoom except for Elvis, who was there live in person in Las Vegas. But I think that all that preparation, like I needed to start becoming a man of means. I had all these thoughts in my head about I just felt like I hadn't done anything in life and I needed to start simple and build consistently over time. And it was those two thoughts of just start and not do more, but do less more often. That was the big thought in my head. Do less more often. So don't put $1,000 into an investment and start and buy a home and start flipping houses and real estate and all these big things that people make millions on. I don't know how to do any of that, but I knew if I could do. There's my picture.
Oh yeah. We Scott's got a brand new camera that we've learned shuts off its power about every 10 minutes, and you can fix that. We're aware, but it just 2 minutes before we went live, we could still.
This is yet another reason why you should not take financial advice from me. So, so do less more often means just a little bit of money every day or week or month, putting in like maybe an index fund, an easy investment, something simple, something that's, you're going to hold for the long term, 20, 30 years. Nothing, like you said, I'm into crypto like you are, but I'm not a crypto bro. So nothing too speculative, nothing where I'm like, it could go to the moon tomorrow. That's why I'm investing in it. I stay away from a lot of those, except for a small part of my portfolio.
Yeah, I have to admit, I have one crypto that I have that a lot of people have that I'm just like, if this hits, we're all going to move to Mars because I can afford to. It won't hit, but that's almost fun. That's almost off the beaten path of what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, crypto is amazing. And if you had invested in it last year and stuck with it, you'd be doing really well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't offer any dividends yet. And I really like the reliability of getting dividends from companies. And I like being able to take those dividends that aren't money that I started with and just reinvesting and buying more stock and doing that consistently. Again, do less more often. It compounds over time.
Well, you've touched on two things that I think it's great to dive into as we talk
Sure.
about this here. And thanks to the Ken Goes Live audience for following me on these little adventures. I do want the Sella show to also hopefully leave a mark on you in a good way about ways to approach life. And that's what we were doing with Phil last week, and that's what we're doing with Scott today. That was the hardest thing for me. You said it, the start thing.
Starting. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I remember it's so easy now. It's almost like I almost didn't have an excuse anymore. But about 10 years ago or so, I was like, I should. This seems like something I should do, not to get rich and then become a tycoon, but just like my retirement, there is none. Like, what do I? And I had a job that had a 401k attached to it, and that went away. And then it was get an E-Trade account, which took more money, but it was like I was so terrified. Yeah. And even with resources like books and YouTube emerging, I was so terrified I didn't start, and I got gripped in that fear. Fear led to that fear, and I just didn't go forward.
Yeah, I think, and part of the reason I named the channel The Lean Years is because when I wanted to start, I was like, well, I better go learn. And I'd go try to watch some YouTube videos, and they were always already rich, like just fabulously wealthy people. Somebody who I watched a girl who, trades options at, 4 a.m. in the morning until 9 a.m. And that's how she makes her money. I'm like, I don't know how to trade options. And then I've watched a guy who was already a real estate millionaire. And then somebody who took he worked in tech, and he took all his money and just YOLO'd it into some crypto that hit. And now he's making YouTube videos on how to get rich. And I'm like, I can't relate. Who are the people that are in the lean years, that are in the tough times? And can you get out of them? And how do you start there? And so that's where I wanted to speak from. So that's why I talk in my channel. If you've seen any of my videos, I'm just honest. I'm honest about the dollar amounts that I have, exactly what it is, because it's not much compared to so many others. And I'm also honest about how many times I've failed and not always done the right thing or not followed through correctly. So I just feel like you need, all of social media these days seems to be going towards this authenticity leaning. Instagram, if you've seen Instagram in the last couple of years, they went from very, very glossy to these, pseudo authentic photo dumps that make it look like everything's just natural. It's like cultivated authenticity these days. And so I guess I'm riding that wave. Is this the cultivated authenticity?
But again, you're literally showing your screen of what you've invested in, and you're a couple years ahead of me on that, because I finally started only a couple years ago, and again, I don't know. There's just some in watching what you were saying that provided some kind of comfort to push me even more forward on to learn more and to actually do it. And then I am. What is this? Tell me more about this philosophy behind do less more.
Do less more often. Yeah, it actually came from my other profession, which is acting.
You're an actor too, but
which there's a lot of fear-based professions. When you are pursuing acting or any arts, any artistic endeavor, it feels like you're investing in yourself, but you just don't know where to begin. There's so much you could do, and you want to be doing everything. And what you end up doing is you do like an amazing week of work to really make your career happen, and then you do nothing for 6 months.
Yeah.
And and that does not lead to results, funny enough. What leads to results is doing, a half hour a day where you write one letter to an agent a day, one letter to a casting director a day. That's it. And then at the end of the year, you have 365 letters. So and then you don't beat yourself up because you've done a half hour. It's kind of riffing on the Pomodoro technique, just 20 minutes of focused work and then back at it.
I am a big fan. I've started to use the Pomodoro method. My friend Owen Mugen, producer and friend of the show, we had a conversation, went for a walk in December on a cold night out there in the equestrian center area of Toluca Lake, and he told me about it, and I was like, I kind of heard about it, and I got to tell you something, it's in line with what you're saying of just starting. I get what you're meaning here. Less, do less more, because I'll put that timer on 25 minutes just to get some work done, and before you know it, it's 2 hours, and I've accomplished more than what I set out to do.
Yeah, I mean, a part of part of it also is I did not realize until I started looking into it how much money I was losing by just saving money in a bank. I
Yeah.
thought that was like, obviously that's the first step. You want to try to start building a little bit, but by just leaving it in the bank, inflation steals the money from you. It's like a
Yeah.
tax. And I didn't realize that I was losing out on that so much. So it's like a poker game. Life is just, you just have to keep anteing in, and
Yeah.
you can't get out of it. And unless you can keep up with that ante, unless you can like, if inflation this year is, I think 7%, almost 7% last year, that's insane. That if you started out with $100, you now have $7 less in value at the end of the year. So
Well, at least minimum wage is raising to meet that.
I hope so. I hope so. That at least minimum wage. Yeah, no, it isn't.
Great stuff here, Scott.
Yeah.
And yeah, people chiming in here.
Yeah, what do they want to know?
Ambulance, so the seed money is difficult because you have to have money put in, dividends pay out. Vermont Mike says, I must read more about this issue. My hit Mike Fink asked a great question. What about the climate impact of crypto? It's a real concern. I also think more companies in crypto are more carbon neutral than anyone's going to give them credit for. There's ones that are actually trying for it. There's others that
some
are not.
cryptos are exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, we have to figure. To my thought, this is my uneducated, unexpert opinion. People are making fun of crypto like they made fun of email in the '90s, and it ain't going away. Blockchain ain't going away. I think we have to figure out the right way forward.
I mean, I heard. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of Shark Tank, but Kevin O'Leary said the other day that it's just software. And if you didn't invest in software in the '90s, what were you doing? Like there's a lot of software running the world these days. I don't know either.
It's the climate impact. Like I'm not a huge fan of NFTs per se, but the technology of blockchain.
But I think climate impact is important, and especially with the apps we're talking about. I started with Acorns just to get going with my spare change. And then I have an app for my Roth IRA called Betterment that I like a lot. They're good customer service with Betterment. But they both have portfolios that you can invest in, just index funds you can invest in that aren't expensive, that don't charge the fees that like mutual funds used to charge back in the day. And they have portfolios that are specifically addressing climate issues. So portfolios that address like all the disruptors in a particular sector, those who are more climate friendly. I just switched my Acorns as soon as it came out to a more climate friendly portfolio. So get those oil companies off the list. Although sometimes the oil companies sneak back on the list because they say they're doing more for climate than anybody else. But
right. Look, it's something we all have to be concerned about. And look,
I think it's important.
Force Center has over 1,000 podcast episodes that are housed somewhere.
Exactly.
And so we all have to kind of look at what's going forward. So I think it's a fair question, a great question
Very
from Mike
fair.
about that too. So a couple more minutes with you here, but you're going to stick around if you want.
Happy to.
But I think this is exactly what I need, man. And we're going to keep checking back in with you on little things along the way, because I was someone who was so overwhelmed by this, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. Even when I got on the apps, and I always recommend Stash, because Stash literally has like little lessons. And there's Scott's little lesson of a camera.
That's just, I don't have Stash. So my camera was like, no, we're not participating.
And I appreciated that, because it almost, for me, Stash almost turned investing into a phone game.
Yeah, the gamification of investing. It's a plus and a minus.
And same with Coinbase has a lot of we'll give you a little morsel of this, but here's
I got $80 worth of crypto on Coinbase by just taking watching a video and taking a test for a minute.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to lay in bed at 1 a.m. and take a financial test before you go to bed, but it works. Vermont Mike says, must be a Fuji camera. No, I think it's a Kodak.
It's a Canon. A Kodak. It's a Polaroid.
It's a Polaroid, which, by the way, are coming back, and I love that they're coming back. We actually use them too. So there, So I love it, and this is just the start of the conversation with you here, Scott. But I think you gave some great advice here today.
Yeah, just start. If you get nothing else from this, start,
and then do less, more.
Do less more often.
Yeah. More. All right, Scott, you want to stick around for a little bit, or
I'll be here.
yeah, okay, all right. I'm going to pull Scotty out of the feed there. Great conversation, more on the way. Great comments in there as well. We really appreciate that. But before we get to A's for your cues and some calls, we got this for you here right now.
On this day in history, January 6, 2021, a group of peaceful souls went on an unchaperoned field trip to Washington, D.C. to attend a spirited gathering with the simple mission to save America, as directed by the very man who had worked tirelessly to destroy it over the previous 4 years. After mulling about the historic Ellipse Park, the hallowed location of the annual White House egg-rolling event ever since President Rutherford B. Hayes gave in to the pressure of his children to host it there, this collection of Facebook users were encouraged to take an impromptu tour of the nation's Capitol building. Armed with nothing but facts they made up, as well as bear mace, batons, knives, guns, mysteriously well-placed pipe bombs, and a noose normally associated with public executions and lynchings, many in attendance proudly rude going out of style. The merry band of proud patriots fought their way over barricades and through secured doors and windows like an army of the undead taking Winterfell, so they could continue their tourist adventure inside the very walls of the building that was, by a strange coincidence, holding a confirmation vote of a recent presidential election. Conveying their desire for a peaceful world full of only like-minded tyrants and those who just want to live in a world where they're allowed to almost intentionally misunderstand the comic book character the Punisher. The jovial group, made up of people like your weird uncle who collects zip ties, art history enthusiasts, and retired professional wrestler Mantar, made their way through the building while members of the government huddled on the floor in fear for their very lives. It can only be called a gross misunderstanding of the violent threats being shouted at them. After bannerful trips to the gift shop, picking up some stationery, and stopping to make phone calls back home to brag about doing their part to preserve the sanctity of lies, the group quietly disbanded and went back home to watch episodes of Bob's Burgers. Thus, the animated visit ended with only the bare minimum amount of needless deaths, life-altering trauma, and the confirmation of the very election the tour group wanted to stop in the first place, causing your parents to describe it to you over the holidays as a small incident overblown by the lamestream media. All this and more happened on this day in history.
Truly, my friends, never forget. Never forget. Tomorrow is quite an anniversary. All right. We have got some A's for your cues. Oh, I cut that off. That's my fault. Shouldn't do that. I press a button and then there's like someone actually plays that. It's our Chihuahua Baxter actually plays the pan flute. Is that a pan flute? I don't know. I don't know. I'll ask Johnny M when he calls in from Long Island. First question, and then Scotty Antonucci, which I don't know why I now call him Scotty, like he's playing second base for the A's, but I like that. We're gonna have to see these questions here. Trey T, I can't imagine that I will ever voluntarily get into a self-driving car. Is this irrational? Am I alone on this? Look, Trey T. Absolutely not. You're not alone on this at all. I absolutely do not trust self-driving cars. Now, I'm going to bring Scott back in here. My friend, Scotty Antonucci. He plays for the A's in the late 80s. Yeah. Look, you and I, we joke. We are of the same age, like almost down to like the minute, the week.
We're a month apart. Yeah, we're a month apart.
It is crazy. And time has done a lot less damage to you than me. But I like to consider myself a man who finds his place in change. I keep saying that. It's a key part of my stand-up act right now. I do not want to fight change. I want to find my place in it.
Embrace it.
Yeah, self-driving cars, I'm turning and running away from. I don't trust them, Scotty. You?
I'm not ready yet. But a year ago, we had a little party in the desert, Joshua Tree, a little to celebrate the wedding.
Yeah.
And one of the guests came from Los Angeles in a Tesla that drove itself there. She did not steer the entire time. And I was like, for a second, I was like, wait, did I get married this year? Have I teleported to? I couldn't believe that happened. Like, I knew that they existed. And then she made it worse by saying, oh yeah, my roommate just let me borrow the car because she didn't need it today. So,
I mean, did Doc Brown come out and say, good God, great Scott, we need to talk about your children? Like,
and then he took the mask off because he got 30 years younger.
I can't. First of all, I love the act of driving. I love driving. It's so relaxing, but I think I'd fall asleep, which is not relaxing to me while in the driver's seat.
And
even
can't be safe. Can't be safe in right?
Look, I trust it enough. I get it. And hearing your friend driving from LA all the way out
to Joshua Tree.
That's a hike.
That's a 2-hour drive.
A lot of open roads, but like 2-lane highways at some point, right?
Yep.
I don't trust that at all. I don't trust that when I'm awake and 2 hands 10 and 2. So Trey, I think that's a great question. But
I'm going to invest in it anyway.
Yeah. I'll definitely invest.
I mean, there's 2. I know I said you got to play it safe, but I invested in 2 car companies that are trying to create the flying car. That's 2 of them.
Hey, give me the tip off there. Definitely not Trey. Follows up to his own question and says, I'm the polar opposite of an early adopter. That's fair. It's a fair question. And then the laser bolts. I've only had a smartphone for 3 years. See, laser bolts is in our generation as well. But I'm reminded, like, I got my parents are slow adapters, very slow, to the point of stubbornly refusing to adapt. But like, we got into a heated argument about 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Because they were like, we don't text message. We will not get a smartphone, and we will not text message. and they text,
and they stuck to it.
Yeah, my mom sends emails instead. Her text messages are like, "Dear Ken, this is like it's an email,"
and then she signs it. Love, Mom.
Yeah. And it was a great job. Only Murders in the Building deals with that with Steve Martin.
Yes, brilliantly. Yes.
Love that. All right, next question coming in hot here. Scotty, stay with me here. Do you ever Frankenstein a meal? I order wings from Pluckers, local to Texas, and fries from Chick-fil-A, says Andy Ortiz. No, I do it with sodas. I don't drink sodas as much, if at all, anymore. Stick to those Zevias there, but as a kid, I did what I call heavenly sodas because I was not allowed to call it a suicide, which is, I think it was the street name for it, where you just go to 7-Eleven and you just do a weird science mix.
Oh, I loved those.
Did you do that too?
Yeah, I loved those back in the day. Yeah, and I called them suicides. I didn't know there was a polite name for them. Is there a polite name?
Well, look, I was raised in the kind of home where one of my favorite snacks is deviled eggs. I couldn't call them that. I had to call them angeled eggs. And heavenly soda.
That's so sweet.
There was a G.I. Joe boat called like the Sea Devil or something like that, or Devil something.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I saw it in the comic book, I hid the comic book. Not like I was hiding porn or something. I hid the comic book from my mom because I didn't want her to find it.
Amazing. That's amazing. I just love the name Pluckers. Can we get some restaurants out here called Pluckers? That's fantastic.
I'll tell you what, Pluckers sounds like a different kind of business altogether out there on the highway out there outside of Vegas. That's not the one you want to go. As far as the food, though, I will say I don't like them. JG John Granberg says I think we called them Master Blasters.
Blasters.
Less devilish and somber and dark as heavenly sodas, but equally as dirty.
Great.
Yeah. Pluckers. Kyle says Pluckers is a business Ken can't tell his mom about. Truth. Good truth.
Yeah.
But Jeff's out there. Scribbler's out in that area. Says Pluckers. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Someone give me a clue to the Pluckers menu. I've got to imagine, Scott, a lot of chicken somewhere in the Pluckers
It's
menu.
Got to be. I'm remembering a tongue twister I learned in theater school. That was, I'm not the pheasant plucker. I'm the pheasant plucker's mate. I'm only plucking pheasants because the pheasant plucker's late. I'd pluck another pheasant, word present here to pluck, but at present pheasant pluckers are a bit down on their luck. That was that was
Scott,
one of them.
I'm not going to lie, Scott. That kind of turned me on.
Yeah. That's how I got my wife. I just did that.
I understand, Zara.
I opened with, "Hey, I liked your profile on the dating app. Would you like to hear a tongue twister?" And then she was mine.
Absolutely. Absolutely love that there. But as far as the food, to answer Andy's question, absolutely do not. I don't like that. And if it's a Del Taco day, it's a Del Taco day. I don't even like people around me getting food. And this happened once. An old friend of mine and her then husband, we went down. We were in Anaheim, and we went to an El Pollo Loco, and we were in there ordering. And her husband, he just had that look in his face. He looks across the street. He goes, "I'll be right back." And he ran, didn't use the crosswalk, ran across a busy street in Anaheim to a McDonald's, and came back. We all sat down. We had El Pollo Loco and McDonald's at the same table. And I still think about that. It's still off-putting to me.
It's just, it doesn't mix. It's odd. It's like something that doesn't belong in your portfolio. I'm going to keep bringing it back to investing.
You should. That's on brand. The lean years indeed. All right. Next question coming in here is from Chris Kiefer, our friend, who is a actual real life librarian here. He is the LA County's best librarian. He says, did any assigned novels in junior high or high school make an impact on you, good or bad? Great question, especially since, Scott, you and I are in the same era, down to the month, which means we probably had the same assigned books or choices, or read the same books. So I'll start by saying this. I was okay. I like reading. I was a good reader. So of Mice and Men is the first one I thought of. Yeah, when the red, the Pearl. Yeah, the Pearl, where the red fern grows. All fine. Like no memory, good or bad, other than I had to do them. But I chose to read, and I think in 11th grade, we had a list of books to choose from. And I chose Shogun, all like 1,500 pages or whatever, this book. Because why? Because my mom and dad watched the Richard Chamberlain series when I was a kid. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then there was a game on the Commodore 64 about Shogun that it's this awesome, weird 2D game that I never even fully understood. So I was like, all right. Let me learn about Ishido and the Shoguns and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. The book has some tropes and elements. I don't know. I don't know if the book even stands up. I don't know. All I know is just it was so big and overwhelming in just the world and the reading. I finished every word, and I really did like it, and I loved it. And then I had to read another book that right after that, 400 pages, and I was so overworked by the 1,500 Shogun pages. I didn't read a word of the next book, which was Ivanhoe, and I completely made up a book report and lied about it. I felt bad about it to this day. So, Mrs. Crocker, 11th grade English at Arroyo Grande High School, I apologize.
Wow. I read A Tale of Two Cities, I remember. Yeah. And at the end of the book, I wasn't sure which two cities. That's how bad I was.
Any other one? Old Yeller said definitely tried Still Crying from read that in 5th grade. 5th grade's a little early to maybe throw the death of a dog in your face, but any negative impact there, Scott, or positive? Are you a Mice and Men guy?
I mean, I read it in high school, so not junior high, but high school. And I did remember having that feeling at the end of the book. And it was probably the first book that really did this to me, of like, I had to get to the end. So the last part of the book went a lot faster. And I remember being really excited about that. And then I also had that experience later on with Invisible Man, the Wells, not Ellison version. And that same thing. I was turning and turning, and I just couldn't wait to get to the end of that.
Yeah. It's a good book to read. It's a book of poems called Baby's First Apocalypse. Have you read that one? You should read
it. Sitting on my, let me see if I'll be, let me just.
Yeah, be right back. Show us that. Show us that. This is a great collection of poems that I have read, written by Scott's wife, Zara Lisbon. So
I'm pretty sure it's this right here.
Oh, you got a lot of copies.
I got a few copies.
It is great. She is an amazing writer. An amazing writer.
It's a nice book of poems. And guess who took the picture on the front?
Hello. You, sir.
That's sir. Right.
I love that. All right. Next question coming in here is from our friend Senior Film. You'll also notice I couldn't, I know how to get the accented N on my, but it wouldn't work with the font. So it looks like I'm like, Senior Film. But what's your first concert and what's your favorite concert? Two very distinct questions here. Scott, what was your first question?
I knew you're smiling because you know that I'm not like a music guy. So these are both kind of weird and embarrassing. No, not weird and embarrassing. I've never really seen a concert. Is the truth? Never, like,
huh?
So I went to Lilith Fair in college.
I'm a huge
But
Sarah
that was
McLachlan fan. Yes.
an amazing, I got to see Tracy Chapman and Sarah McLachlan and the Indigo Girls and
Yeah.
all amazing
Very
bands.
clean,
But it was more like you were just walking around in the lawn and
yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah.
you threw down a blanket and it's fine and it's lovely and they were there, but it
Yeah.
didn't feel like a concert the way most people talk about concerts. And then the only other time I saw a live band really do their thing was Bare Naked Ladies, again in the 90s. I was in college.
Yeah.
But it was a filming of it was a filming of like a VH1 special kind of introducing
Yes.
Bare Naked Ladies.
Yes. I remember
And
that.
so they would screw up their songs and have to do them again because they
Like,
had to get it right.
like a comic taping their special of let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's do it again. That's good.
That's what it felt like.
That senior film is here. We are asking senior answering senior film's question here. First concert, favorite concert. I saw the Bare Naked Ladies in the 98, 97, 98 range. I was fan. We played them on my radio station. Our radio station had tickets, so I've seen them. Bogman opened up for them. It was a great show. All right, so you don't. That's a first. Is that your favorite too? What's your favorite concert? Even though you have like 3 you've attended.
That's it. How can I mean,
you gotta get you out to the show, man.
I don't go to show. There's people and crowds at shows and all that.
We'll get
freaks me out a little bit.
I'm gonna get you and Zara to go once things are a little clearer around here. We're gonna go back to the Hotel Cafe. I think you have a good time.
Okay. I've gone to the Hotel Cafe, but I've just seen friends who
that counts.
Okay.
Okay. My first concert, I've answered this before, but it's always fun to highlight it again, is Debbie Boone, the daughter of Pat Boone, the "You Light Up My Life" singer, big in the Christian music scene in the late 70s, early 80s and beyond. And she played the Paso Robles Mid-State Fair in my hometown. And that was my first concert experience. It was crazy. I couldn't understand. I was like seeing I heard her at home. I mean, she's great. She's talented. Pat Boone, great singer. Is he my style? No. Is Debbie Boone my style? She's a great singer. She's a great singer. But it was hilarious. And it was the first time that I remember like seeing, someone I heard on a cassette tape. Now I was seeing it was like a weird, like first kind of celebrity, not interaction, but occasion. So
it was a Christian music scene? Is that what it was?
I mean, "You Light Up My Life" was about Jesus. He was lighting up her life and all that stuff.
Okay.
So that's generally.
I mean, because I've been to I've heard concert choirs in churches. My grandfather, who was also an investor, by the way, he sang in the church choir, and I was a cantor for 1 year, singing all the little riffs in between the priest.
Love that.
It was an interesting time.
Linkin Park is his first. Guns N' Roses is fave. Scribbler, this is great. When U2, Sugar Cubes, and Public Enemy opened, I do remember what that kind of tour. Yeah, love the Sugar Cubes too. Hit, great song by the Sugar Cubes. So Debbie Boone, my favorite. Man, I haven't seen a ton as much as I'd love, but man, I definitely have seen a lot. And David Bowie, late 04, early 05 range. His final big tour ever down in Anaheim was spectacular. I've seen Kiss, Irvine Amphitheater. Poe opened up for them. Oasis, big Oasis fan. So I've seen them a ton. I need more water today. My tongue is just. After you do a 2-hour review of Boba Fett, your brain is sometimes there. Look at this. I love this answer. Guess Who? One of my favorite bands. Guess Who?
Yeah.
Great choice. But my favorite one, Polyphonic Spree open up for Bowie. Might be Oasis with Travis was a great show. Kind of one I remember. Perfect time of my life. New in LA. Just kind of really feeling a bunch of music. I was writing for Tiny Mixtapes at the time, so saw that. Cool. Also, back at the old Largo, David Bazan of Pedro the Lion. I saw him. That was a great show. Bic Runga, great show. Intimate performance, like stuff like that. So we'll get out to a show. Maybe we'll just do karaoke, Scott. Maybe that'll be it.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Next question coming in here. This is from Vermont Mike. Is nostalgia a healthy thing, or does it prevent us from moving on? We're seeing a lot of it in pro wrestling, Star Wars, Star Trek, The Matrix, Marvel, the list goes on. Can any of these properties involve with one foot in the past? Deep question. This is a deep question. So here's my take, and Scott, sorry, if, let me dive in here a little bit.
No, it's the other profession. I'm into it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Pro wrestling can sometimes get caught up with it. That's true. Nostalgia is a word thrown out around a lot these days in the fandoms, as it should be, because it's a lot of what it seems to be out there. I think it's a case-by-case basis. I haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife. Some people say too nostalgia heavy. Some say perfect. Cobra Kai, clearly I haven't seen it. I probably won't. Karate Kid did not have an impact on me, but those who are seeing it are moved by it. And I think it's how you deal with the nostalgia. Because I started at this point, and this is what I used to always say on internet for old people. Pop is culture. Pop culture is our culture. We grew up, particularly guys like you and I, Scotty, we grew up in this time where you were told the 80s were great, toys everywhere, all these toys, but we were told, sometimes literally, you're going to have to put them away. They mean nothing. They're toys. They're just of their youth. And the art, and there's great Beethoven and Shakespeare. I studied Shakespeare, all this stuff. That is this great timeless art. But I think there was a switch in our generation helped kind of lead that forward, where the art that we loved, the stuff we loved, I'm not saying He-Man's high art, but that pop culture is our culture. Yeah. And this word nostalgia can sometimes be misused in some of the switches. I think Vermont Mike's great question here goes to a lot of different areas and asks a wonderful question. Yeah. I think it's just how you move forward. And I'll close my monologue here, Scott. Star Wars is the one I know the best and the most. And I don't think Star Wars has at all lived in nostalgia since the Disney era began. It gets accused of it, and that's just wrong. They are literally telling tales of generational change and the weight of the previous generation and the stories and legends of the previous generation being on top of these characters. And how do you deal with it? How do you grow with it? How do you learn from the past and not leave it, not kill it? How do you move forward with it? And even Book of Boba Fett, we're seeing, with no spoilers here, Book of Boba Fett is absolutely a show that says, see this character you love and this setting, this world, this planet, this palace, it's empty. We're going to rebuild it and change it and grow and move forward with it. So I think if you approach it like that, case by case basis, other things might not be working. Other things might just be nostalgia member berries. I totally think sometimes that's the case. Pro wrestling does it a lot because they have trouble building new stars, new characters. So you get a quick, easy pop by bringing in an old person. That can sometimes hamper some of the things. That's just my thoughts. I'm going to end it there. Scotty, you're smarter than me. What do you think?
That's just if I'm smarter than you, my thought is you are a philosopher, because I will listen to you talk about that all day long. I asked you a question. I was rewatching Star Wars recently and asked you a question, and you came back with like blowing my mind text messages about where Star Wars came from, how it was conceived, what it's really about. And it changed how I was watching the one movie I was watching. I was watching the prequels again. And you blew my mind with that stuff. I mean, nostalgia is, it feels good. It's good for you. There's nothing wrong with it. If it feels good.
Yeah. Look, nostalgia, it depends. And you want to take it out to humans. You know, if you're that person that's like, man, high school and college were great, I wish I could live in that. You are swimming and then drowning in your own nostalgia.
Right.
And you can acknowledge it and grow and change from that point on. I think there's a danger to it, and it's an easy sell, and you're selling our memories. Sure. That's true. But I always say the reason those properties from the 80s, the ones we were literally told, put back on the shelf, you're done with them, kid. Then we, and now the generations after us, have gotten to positions of power as storytellers and filmmakers and content creators. Right. And that's the art that influenced us. So I think it's there. And look, Star Wars, we've been talking about this in Force Center. Star Wars is literally George Lucas going back to his youth and going, those morning cereals, those crazy Flash Gordon cereals, I want to do my version of that and take other influences of things that have that I've grown with along the way. And
the Vietnam era. Yeah.
And then also I have some thoughts on Nixon.
I have some thoughts on Nixon.
Final question of the day here. Kyle Harlow says this, again, in honor of Betty White. Who was your favorite Golden Girl and why? I mean, it's got to be Betty White. How
do you say anybody other than Betty, especially right now?
Especially right now. It's an amazing cast. And I'm trying to separate the character from the performer here. Betty White was an absolute legend, a barrier in many ways. Were you a Golden Girls fan growing up, Scott?
I mean, completely, because I lived with my grandmother from the ages of like 6 to 12. My grandparents raised me a bit. And the only way I could bond with my grandmother, one of the few ways, you know, in addition to the food she made for me, the Italian food, was watching the Golden Girls, and we were both laughing at the same jokes and the same things. And it was it was a thrill that at first blanch, pun intended, You don't think it's a show for you, especially if you're a 12-year-old kid. You're like, this isn't going to work for me. And then you're like, these ladies are hilarious. I will hang with them any day.
I did watch it there. Vermont Mike, big fan of it. But not surprising in my house, watching a TV show of four, ladies of advancing age talking about sex and other things, not allowed in my house. So
okay.
I do not live with them as much, but absolutely, we're saddened by the passing of Betty White, but also at the same time, you got to take the lessons and celebrate that life. What a life lived. That's the way to do it. And she got to have that a good decade of just everyone screaming to the rafters about how great Betty White was.
Yeah, she had a decade of praise at the end of your life. Imagine that.
And shout out to a friend of the show, past and future guest, Jennifer Murrow, the writer, big Golden Girls fan. Her back patio, she has remade into the patio is their living room. It's an amazing amazing setup.
That's fantastic.
So great questions. I love all the questions. To submit questions, you can go to patreon.com/Napzok. You sign up there, you can post them there. And from there, you get into the Discord server where you can put some there as well. We'll also get some video submissions soon. Scott, hang on if you want. I forgot. I pulled this picture. Remember when I shared this one with the world?
Yes. Yes, I do.
That's your high school. That's high school, right?
Yeah, and there's a Star Trek reference in there.
Yeah.
And
wow. Yeah.
And then a Stephen Crane poem.
I didn't intend to put that on there, and then
but that kid, wow,
that kid he's gonna be a big investor one day.
He's gonna be big. He's gonna be big into stocks.
You got all your books there. We are almost here to our final segment. It is Ken Takes Calls.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no theme music, just me. Just me.
That's
maybe it's you. Maybe you're the pan flute player. All right, we got one queued up today. If you want to be a caller, you have to be in that Discord and you get the stuff. This guy's becoming an arch nemesis of mine. Please welcome to the show. Yeah, your friend and mine, John. Let me get that lower third off. Johnny M from Long Island. Checking in from the Yoda room. What's up, Johnny M? What's on your mind today?
What's going on? I'm enjoying this conversation between you and Scott. I'm just sitting here enjoying the show in New York and cold, rainy
New York.
Yeah,
rainy New York. Hi, John. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for the great advice.
The Yoda photo. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, is that a puzzle?
It's like a mosaic of all scenes from Star Wars.
Oh, so cool. See, cool. Art. Bonafide art. John, was there anything you took from Scott's lessons? Was it just start, or was it run away with fear? What was it?
Well, no. It's funny because I was investing for a while, and this will be news to Scott, but not news to you or the audience. Like, I'm rebooting my life. I'm in the middle of restarting. So in doing that, I need to get back to investing. I had to liquidate a lot of the stuff I was into.
Right.
To get to where I am now. And as I get whole again, part of it's going to be Scott's camera again.
You scared him away.
I started getting weepy, and I didn't want people to see me cry at how beautiful your story is.
So no, I do plan on investing, and I love the advice of in small increments. I always made the mistake of like saving, and then investing. So it's really good, helpful stuff for me.
Yeah. Oh, good
stuff. Love it, John. Anything?
I've helped one person. I'm done. See ya. I'm retiring.
Scott,
I was editing a video, and now I'm going to stop. I'm not even going to release the next one.
Don't edit the video. You and Zara take the night off. Maybe go get yourself some pluckers and have a good night.
Get some pluckers.
John, any specific question, or I'll bring in our next caller with you?
I do have one question because you touched on ninjas or Darryl Strawberry.
Yes.
And you didn't really answer it. You just kind of said, like, oh, we all picked ninjas or Darryl Strawberry. So just to the room, and maybe the next caller can answer it too. Like ninjas or Darryl Strawberry.
I studied to be a ninja, and what I mean by that is I read that G.I. Joe comic where Snake Eyes infiltrates Destro's castle and there's no dialogue. I read that every week for like 2 years. Considered that ninja training. I later on wanted to be a pro baseball player. It was one of my best friends growing up that did want to be Darryl Strawberry and dress like him for Halloween. Unfortunately, my friend was not a person of color, but still tried to be for the Halloween.
Oh, okay.
It was problematic. A little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit.
All right,
A little bit.
yeah.
A little bit. But so that's your answer, Johnny.
Thank you.
Ninja.
Did either of you take karate back in the day? Was that because the 70s,
No.
80s, especially when the show came out or the movies?
Soccer, yeah, AYSO soccer and
That's
like
it.
2 minutes of wrestling. I went to one wrestling practice. I actually went to one wrestling practice
Hmm.
and got home, and my mom and dad were like, the shoes and the gear is too expensive. You can't do it. So unfortunately,
That was it.
And the closest I've come to taking karate at all was the summer of 1984. And it's not exactly what you guys are thinking. There's a restaurant here on Long Island called Mama Lombardi's, and my family was there, and we were eating. And in the back, with his family, was the Karate Kid.
Ralph
Ralph
Macchio.
Macchio was in the same restaurant, and my mom. This is where I learned that at 8 years old, my mom's like, "Don't go talk to him. It's rude to talk to people while they eat." And I'm like, dying that summer of like, I'm 8.
Wow.
Like, can I go see the Karate Kid, please? He's like
He was
there.
huge. Wow,
Yeah.
84.
Look, your mom's not wrong. Good lesson. Good lesson.
Yeah, I mean the meatballs were fantastic.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's such a Long Island story. It was 84. Ralph Macchio was at Mama Lombardo's. That's such a Lombardo's. Let's get our next caller in here today. Johnny, we'll have you on the screen there. I love doing the multi-calls. Scott, you can stay along as well if you're having fun, unless, you got to go pick up some pluckers for you.
No, I'm doing great. I'm here.
Okay.
Pluckers can wait.
Coming to the show now is our friend Pete Rich, a.k.a. White Jesus from the DC comedy shows. He came out to see me and Mark Ellis, and literally every comic, myself included on the bill, made a joke about him looking like White Jesus. So, Pete, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you, Ken?
We're doing great, man. Having a lot of fun hanging out here today.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Nothing. I've been enjoying the show. I'm completely ignorant when it comes to investing, so it's
I know that feeling well.
Yeah, it's very daunting. So
yeah,
I've dabbled a little bit on Robinhood, and
sure.
kind of just trying to get a little bit more familiar with the process and stuff like that. And I was kind of excited to listen to Scott here talk about it, so I could kind of gain more knowledge, and like a kind of like you were saying, like you have all these like big shots with the advice, but like what about the normal guys?
What about the normal guys?
Yeah.
What about the guys that go get a pie at Mama Lombardo's? How do they invest?
Right.
A lot of praise for
guys.
Pete. A lot of people excited to see Pete back on the show today. Look at these comments. Everyone's excited for Pete, man. Love it. No, and I appreciate you, Pete, sharing that. Scott's got a lot of great advice, but he'll downplay it. But it's because it comes from that point of lived-in experience and accessible knowledge, and that's why everyone. We'll drop a link on the YouTube channel, but the lean years on YouTube is where you want to go for Scott's videos that he puts an amazing amount of work into, and they look gorgeous, beautiful pieces of art.
That means a lot from you, Ken. Thanks.
Pete, any questions specific today?
Yeah, you were talking about concerts and stuff earlier, and it kind of made me think, do you have like a specific artist, concert event or something that you're looking forward to attending, once they go back on tour and, things start to open back up a little bit more?
Absolutely. I'm going to drag Scott to the shows. There is, I'm looking forward to, I was supposed to go to the big Hollywood Bowl show that I just ended up not being able to go. I had to leave and we were flying to New York the next day. But it was Alanis Morissette, Garbage, and Liz Phair at the Hollywood Bowl. And I'm a giant Liz Phair fan, and she had to pull out of the show, out of the entire tour, actually. So she didn't perform. So I'm waiting to see. I've seen her a couple times too, House of Blues on Sunset back in the day. I really love Liz Phair's work, and I want to go see her again in this phase of her career. So that hopefully I can do that again. And then there's two artists. If you guys listen to me over on Pop Rock and Radio, I featured them a lot. They're doing great stuff, and that is the band Living More, which had the single Sharp that's kind of got some radio airplay at the end of last year. And this artist, Jessie Peo, who also plays as a kind of an alter ego version of herself in a band called Pom Poms. And she was just getting back ready to go live. And Chief Scott actually spends a lot of time out there in that high desert area that you go to.
Okay.
And I was trying to get out to see her live. There's going to be a show coming up. There's actually one tonight she's going to do. She's had to stop. Livermore's had to pull back a little bit too. And then they're still selling tickets. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how this variant takes over. I'm such a big fan of the band Haim, and they are going back out on tour, and I have not seen them live, and I absolutely want to do that. So there you go. That's my answers. Pete, nice. Who are you looking forward to?
Well, I was supposed to go to Nashville over New Year's to see a band with a couple of my buddies. I didn't really follow the band. It was my friend's band that he wanted to go see, but it ended up getting canceled. The concert got canceled. So we didn't end up going to Nashville at all. But we do have tickets to see Tool next year.
There you go.
Not next year, this year. Now it's 2022 now. Yeah. And then I've got a couple tickets in Columbus to go see Tom Segura and Bill Burr. So looking forward to those too. Yeah,
that's going to be great. Yeah, I love both those performers. And anytime I'm hanging out at the Comedy Store patio, one person comes up to me and starts talking to me as if I'm Tom, only because.
Oh, really? Yeah. Maybe the same colored beard, but
it's one of those. It's one of those things where I'm like, I get it, but I don't, because like I'm not him in talent level. I'm not him in stature, but like. On the patio one end of the Comedy Store, the conversation got so far down the path that Mark Ellis and I had to we had to pull out of the conversation. We were like, do you think you're talking to Tom Segura? Like, oh, you're not? So that and Dave Filoni from Star Wars, there's still someone out there who thinks they met Dave Filoni at Chicago Celebration on the final day and took a picture with him, but it was me. So sorry. Wow. Scott, we know you're not looking forward to see any music ever in your life.
That's not true. That's not true.
What's your answer? What's your answer?
No, because see, when you get married, you fall in love with the things that your wife loves. This is what I'm learning because I'm a newbie, and so if she ever performs again, I will be seeing Taylor Swift as soon as possible. Because my wife, if anyone follows her, she is a full-on Swiftie. We have all the albums. She's been prolific in the last couple of years. I've become a huge fan, having never listened to her before. Now,
yeah, you should. Yeah, no. Your wife is she's known around these parts.
She wrote 2 novels that include a character obsessed with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great
stuff. Love that. Oh, love that.
That's on the horizon.
Yeah, I want Grace and we want to go see Gaga. I'll go see Britney Spears. I'll go see them all. I love that stuff there. And I can't go see them, Spice Girls, but a little preview. Thursday afternoon, I'm recording a podcast where I talk about the Spice Girls. So we're going to see about that. All right, John, who are you going to see? Was it Paul Anka, Billy Joel? What do you see out there in Long Island? Neil Sedaka?
You're actually closer than I thought you'd get. My family has tickets. We're going to take the girls to their second concert together as a family with my parents, my 2 daughters, to go see Elton John this summer.
Sir Elton John, you can't go wrong there.
Wow.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
Love that. Little Crocodile Rock for you all there.
Yeah.
Yellow Brick Road was the first album I ever bought on cassette tape.
Look at White Jesus coming in here with the Elton John purchase. It's
with
amazing.
The cassette tape reference. There's the nostalgia we needed.
There's the nostalgia. Yeah. Scott left on the nostalgia. He'll be back.
The nostalgia of cassette tapes.
We're rounding the corner here to the end of the show here, so I'm gonna let my callers go here. You guys are the best. Pete, thank you so much for checking in. It's so good to see you out Washington D.C., my friend.
Yeah, it was awesome meeting you, and I got to meet John too.
Yeah, that's right. The great Johnny M was there as well. Johnny, hang on the line like you always do, but we'll see you soon as well. And you and I will do some old TV trivia, like the old Internet for Old People style soon.
Oh, exciting stuff.
That'll be cool.
Exciting stuff indeed. And Scotty ball game. You don't play baseball. You don't play baseball. I'm going to turn you into a ball player. No, Scott Antonucci from the YouTube channel, The Lean Years. Can't thank you enough for making your first appearance on this version of Ken Goes Live. You'll be back to a regular segment. We're going to do this every few weeks or so. I'm going to bring you in to talk about simple, straightforward investing advice. I was going to say advesting advice. That's not how it works.
We'll call it investing thoughts. I don't want to get you in trouble. Like just thoughts about investing.
Thoughts
Keep it simple. for the regular person, investing thoughts.
Investing thoughts works for me as well. Scott, thanks again. And they can follow you online on Twitter at Scott Antonucci, as it sounds.
Twitter is Scott Antonucci, at Scott Antonucci, Instagram at Scott Antonucci.
Yeah, I'll drop the links if you're watching on YouTube down below. But if you're live on Twitch, search The Lean Years on YouTube. Scott, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. I'll see you.
All right, everybody, we are almost out of here. I want to follow up on something that we talked about last week, closing out the show. I didn't have all the information wasn't out there yet, and I wanted to be careful about it. But I was so moved by the passing of a friend of mine and friend of the show, Zachary Bassinger, who had been a listener of Force Center and reached out and talked to me about how much Force Center meant to him during his treatments for cancer that he had been battling over 10 years. And on December 27th of this past year, he had passed away, and his family had reached out. And I was clearly affected last week, still affected when I talked about it on Force Center this week, and just a great soul. And there was an interview that we did in summer of 2020 that's on the Force Center channel that just speaks so much to this person's soul and inspirational approach to tough things in life. During his the final couple of years of his life, his wife Chelsea and his mom Lynn had really put a lot of their life on hold, on pause, to support him, and he had left his home and moved to Atlanta and to get a better chance to get the treatments he needed. His brother Michael and sister Sarah established a GoFundMe that is to support his mom and sister, who put so much on pause to just kind of support Zach. And this is one of Zach's final wishes, was to see that they could be taken care of in some way. I'm dropping the link right now here on the live Twitch channel. I'll have the link in the YouTube description as well. So if you so desire to want to help, you can go there and make a donation. Or if you just want to spread the word, that's just something that I'm asking from the bottom of my heart, putting out there from the bottom of my heart, because in the short amount of time that I had a little bit of a pen pal friendship with Zachary, I took a lot from him and learned a lot in the way he faced the tribulations in front of him. So if you want, there you go. And thank you always for letting me talk about something serious along with the silly stuff as well. So that is it for today. Ken Goes Live, episode 11. Tell a friend, tell a family member, I just appreciate you all. Thanks for watching here on Twitch. If you subbed and I missed it, I apologize. Later on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff. More videos on the way. A lot of fun. We'll see you next week here on Ken Goes Live.